Hi, 7th grade. Miss Dohan here to talk to you today about intro paragraphs, and specifically, as it says in the top right, intro paragraphs for a literary essay. And we are writing a literary essay, which means we're writing an essay about a story or a novel. First thing is, make sure you put your name at the very top. These, if they were able to be glued into your notebook, they'd go in section 3. And we're going to take some notes on this worksheet. The goal is for you to be able to use this worksheet as you draft your intro paragraphs. So even though we're doing an intro paragraph for a literary essay, we're going to still have the same parts. And the three parts of an intro paragraph are the following: hook, background, and thesis. And you might remember this, but when we talked about intro paragraphs in the first trimester, we kind of visualize them as an upside down triangle. And we visualize them as an upside down triangle because the purpose of the intro paragraph is to move us from more of a broad base to the most specific ideas. And again, here's another way to visualize the three parts. We have the hook that represents that broad part. It's going to be kind of short. We have the background that moves us closer to the specific idea, so it's going to be the biggest part of our intro paragraph. And last but not least, we have the thesis, which is the most specific part of our ideas. So we're going to first actually review the prompt of our essay. And the reason we do that is because when we're writing an intro paragraph and we start with our hook, we need to think about what's the big picture topic of our essay. And our prompt is the following: how and why do Helmut's views about Hitler and the Nazis change in The Boy Who Dared? And when we think big picture topic, we're not thinking of the details in the text yet, or the name of the story, or the main characters. The big picture topic is kind of the big topic about life. And in this case, the big life topic is change. And if we want to be more specific, change in attitude or opinion. So make sure that you've written that piece down. And knowing the big picture topic is going to be helpful for our hook, because our hook, again, is starting broad. It's starting with the big picture topic. So when we generate a hook, we use three main strategies. And I'll get you down there. And the reason we use three main strategies is because the purpose of the hook is to get the audience interested in the essay or the general topic. It's not to jump right into the information about the story, but it's to get the audience interested. So three strategies that we'll talk about are the following. First, select a relevant quote from a noteworthy person. So noteworthy, again, means someone who is known by not just you or your personal family. You can use sites like thinkexist.com and even type in general key terms like quotes about change. You can also create your own relevant and original question or an interesting statement. Notice, though, that each of these three strategies uses the topic or the adjective relevant. It must be relevant to our big picture topic of change. So a few do's and don'ts about the hook. 4 do's for the hook. Do just select one strategy. So to go back to, quick shift back, to our triangle, the hook is, again, it's short. It's just one general piece. So just choose one strategy. Do make sure it connects to the general topic of the essay, goes back and connects to change, and do make sure you are concise. So again, just one strategy. A hook, though, can be more than one sentence. So if you include an interesting statement, that can be like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 sentences. On the other hand, for hooks, do not use more than one strategy. And again, this is a big one. Do not just use the question from the prompt. In other words, nowhere in your hook, in your first sentence or a couple sentences, should I see how and why do Helmut's views about Hitler and the Nazis change? Or something like, do you know why Helmut's views about Hitler and the Nazis change? That is neither original, nor does it follow our requirements. After we have our hook, our goal is to use background. And background, and fill this in on your notes, are the sentences that transition the audience from the general topic to the specific ideas about the text and it gives background about the text. So there actually should be a little A here, because background basically does two things. It helps bridge our intro, and it gives more, kind of gives down to the more specifics. Again, to go way, way back to our visual, the background is the biggest part. So here's where we kind of gotta bridge from the hook all the way to the thesis, and we're going to give some background information about the actual text itself. So we've got some explaining to do, as Ricky would say to Lucy. I hope that some of you know that reference. So our background. Background has a couple parts to it. First, usually it's more than one sentence, and that's because it just has a lot to do. Second, it helps to, and actually like what it does is it leads from the hook to the thesis by moving from general to more specific information about the topic. And last, here are some really specific things that you need to write down and make sure you include in your specific intro paragraph. So when I say more specific information about the text, I actually mean stuff like the title of the story, the author's name, first and last, and in this case, middle, the main character's name, setting, and a brief description of the main conflict. Not a whole summary of what happened in the story, but what's going on, the main conflict. So I've had you write this down so that you can actually use this as a checklist and make sure that when you're drafting the background of your intro paragraph, when that should say intro, you have all these parts. So again, use these notes as a checklist. And last is the thesis, and we've been working really hard on thesis statements. Thesis statements are is the sentence that states the most specific ideas about the text. In other words, it's the actual answer to the prompt. And just to review strategies for this, first we want to break down the prompt. And in our prompt we have two questions. We have how must views change, and why do they change? So we've got those two pieces here. Once we've broken those down, then we know to answer each part. So you might say, okay, to question 1, how must views change from blank to blank? Or you might even say blank to blank to blank. Question 2, why do they change? Well, they change because, whoops. Oh no, my computer's freezing. Sorry, guys. They change because of blank event and blank event, because we know that we have event 1 and event 2. Then once we've got that piece, we would combine into one beautiful complete sentence. How must views change from blank to blank? Because of blank and blank. Now that we've run through that very quickly, just make sure that your thesis continues to be just one sentence and the last sentence in your intro paragraph. So what I want you to do now is I want you to go onto your drafting document. You can choose to either draft right on the actual outline itself or directly below it. Use this worksheet to help you generate each part of an introductory paragraph, and good luck drafting.